of OmniNews. This is where I'll be talking about current events and giving commentary and sometimes just, basic information about just regular happenings around the world. And I say regularly lightly because there's nothing regular about what's happening a lot of the time. But let's get started. The first thing I will mention is the palette has a new edition coming out. Tomorrow, January 19th, the Palette's 13th edition will be out. And stay tuned for that. If you are an artist or an entrepreneur, you can still get space. The clock is ticking, so get your space within about 3 hours or so. So, now let me get into what the topic really is about. So we're just getting into 2025, and there's a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff that's been happening has been trickling into 2025 from 2024. So what I will say is we're going to start with what we should leave back in 2024. Some of this we could have left years back, but let's just focus on 2024. First thing being gender wars. Gender wars are trash. They're cornball content to me. Um, I feel like men and women both need each other, and a lot of times the issues that we're complaining about each other for are done by both sides. So it's kind of this constant like tit for tat thing that will never end because it's like, well, you did it first, but you did it first, but you did it first. So a lot of that is just asinine, and it breeds a lot of like just resentment in general that's just not needed and unhealthy in general because not only do you have to interact with like the opposite sex throughout your daily life, like at work or school or wherever, whatever you do for a living, you will have to come across like the opposite sex at some point. So just having common decency can be hard when your mind is so muddled with like the brain rot of this gender is bad and this gender is bad. And that goes for both. Like the whole all men are bad, not all men are bad. Like it stems from like all you know, the men, like people trying to fight misogyny. It's not a bad thing to want to fight misogyny, but calling everything misogynistic when you don't know what it is, that is what's bad because then it's kind of just you're talking to a brick wall because once you lose the focus, speaking of lose focus, but once you lose your point of logic and reason and someone notices that you lost that point of logic and reason, like everything else you say after that is null and void. So it's like I don't even need to hear like what else you're saying because I already know your point of view is coming from a hurt place, and that's what it really boils down to. And it's just hurt people hurt people. Like we need to start trying to heal ourselves, but try to heal the opposite gender as well. And instead of just bashing, sorry, my camera is staying out of focus. Instead of bashing, ooh, sorry, um, okay. Instead of bashing the opposite gender because of your own experiences, or bashing the opposite gender for things that they're complaining about and issues that they're complaining about, why not just listen? Like, okay, men are saying that they don't like this. Cool. Women are saying that they don't like this. Cool. So it's like, don't, I don't know. We always jump into trying to defend ourselves when it comes to trying to defend your gender, if that makes sense, or your sex, whatever you want to do about that wordage. But the next thing, moving on from that, because that's how we also leave it in the past and leave it in 2024, is just to not even think about it. Even the critiques of it can leave, you know, leave my energy at least. Um, the club scene is dead. So the club scene has been dead for some time now, and I feel like the whole mainstream portions of media that was geared towards like the housewives, the love and hip hop, the this and all those reality shows, I feel like that pretty much kind of dampened the club scene. Because hearing people older than me talk about like how back in the day, like going to the club used to be like an outing to go socialize and like meet people to date and stuff like that. Of course, there's still some of that going on now. Like people still sleep with somebody that like you met at the club and all that, but it's like less prevalent now to be like that's your intention, if that makes sense. Or at least it's not for my generation or me. I was born in '98, but I never really went to the club to be like, all right, we're going to go, we're going to go look for men. Like that was, it just seemed like a weird concept to me. We were always just celebrating somebody's birthday or something like that whenever we went. So, but a lot of times it's dying out because like you can do everything at home and for a lot less money. So nowadays, like getting a bottle at the club costs you about $300 if you want something good at least, or if you want multiple bottles, even more than that. So you can go to the liquor store and just get that same bottle for maybe $60 to $100 and be chilling at home. You can be naked at home. You can smoke as much as you want at home. You don't have to worry about a cover charge. You don't have to worry about getting home because you're already there. Like it's cool. And then if you have a significant other, you don't even have to worry about like, you know what I'm saying? Like you going, me, I get horny after I get drunk. So me being right here with my man is perfectly like you know perfectly synchronized, if that makes sense. It's the last video we were talking about synchronicities. It's a very synchronized experience. I'm right here with my man, so I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to worry about no Ubers, no Lyfts. I don't have to worry about driving if I had a car and all that. So it's just overpriced. And then all the money you spend getting into the club and having a good night at the club, you can literally just go like plan a trip or something. Like take $1,000 and put that towards a vacation, or take $1,000 and just do a little day trip somewhere. Like have a new experience in general. Like we've been to the club, it's over with now. But unless they start doing stuff like, for instance, there's places like Tech and Chill and the Lag. Shout out the Lag and Tech and Chill. Even Controllerize if you've been around Atlanta for a little minute, where it's like a club and multiple DJs and everything. But there's also like video games. There's art, there's vendors, there's an art show, like people are selling art, people are selling jewelry, all types of stuff. So if you make events become more than just, you know, become more than, I don't know how to explain it, just like the beauty contest of just sitting and looking cute and just taking selfies and proving to social media that you're, you know, living life somehow and trying to document that, that's when it becomes like, yeah. Let me check the chat. Oh, that was a little while ago, I think. What time is it? Can y'all hear me now? I hope y'all can. If y'all still on, let me know. Shout out Triple S Gaming Revolution. If y'all don't know who Triple S Gaming Revolution is, he is an amazing gamer. He loves 2K. He loves games in general. And his basketball IQ is probably on like basketball commentator level. Like he's amazing. So go over to his channel and subscribe and press the bell for notifications. But back to our regular scheduled program. But yes, you can literally just go on a day trip and just be fine. And spend just the same amount of money as the club or like a night out at the club, and you probably have a better experience, probably grow a little more spiritually, and you probably would drink less probably. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, unless you go somewhere, obviously get drunk, blah, blah, blah. You could just do something new. That's all I'm begging people to do. And so that goes into my next point, which is excursions in the city. So if you know of places in Atlanta, there's a lot of places in Atlanta to like go and have fun and just chill. There's a lot of things to do. But in my time in Atlanta, it has been it's been something. Like I stayed more to like the EDM side of events and stuff like that. I dipped and dabbled in like, you know, the other mainstream types of areas and stuff like that, but I haven't been in a while. But I would say like a lot of stuff in Atlanta is becoming very mainstream, and I think it might be the same way for like all other cities. But when I say mainstream, it's like that whole like as soon as they get a grass wall. Everything's automatically $30 and up for a plate or some shit like that. Or you have automatic gratuity for a to go order where they just brought it out to you. Like that's so wild to me. Or for instance, you're paying $40 for a rooftop party that's like on a two-story building on Edgewood. Like I'm not paying for that. I can go to the sundial for $10. Like I'm not doing that. Like it's hilarious. Um so and so I would say going into my next one, people do a lot to try to impress other people. So what I mean by that is like the 99%, there's portions of the 99% of people that try real hard to impress the other portions of the 99% of people. For instance, like there's somebody that'll probably hear me say, like, I'm not paying no $40 for a rooftop when I can go to the sundial for $10. And they'll be like, well, if you got the money, it don't matter. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not subjecting myself to a shitty experience and paying more for it just to flex for somebody because I say I'm on a rooftop. I'm not doing that. That's not, I feel like we got to stop doing that. And a lot of times it's the people that are like trying to just go for the clout of things and not the substance of things. Or, which it actually goes into my next point of priorities, like people keeping their priorities straight. For instance, I had a friend that invited me to a cruise, and one time, at the time she actually invited me, it was like, you have to pay like a little over $1,000, pretty reasonable to me for a cruise. But I was like, I'd rather put that towards a car because I just like, you know, realized I needed a car very badly. So I was like, I need a car. So I'm not gonna put like a little over $1,000 on a cruise when I could just do that to a car. Like, put that towards a car. So I told her like, no, I should just get a car first because that's the priority because I could get way more money using the car than to put money towards a cruise. And then what happens after the cruise? I just come home and I'm still carless. So I told her that. She's like, oh, well, the struggle will always be there for you. I was like, I would never speak that over my life, first of all. Don't you come up, the things you say have vibrations. So when you say things like, oh, the struggle always going to be there or blah, blah, like whatever you say is going to come back to you. The universe will make it happen and your body will hear. It's like your body will react to the waves that your mind puts out, like the frequency that your mind puts out. So when they when it does, your inside perception becomes your outside perception. As above, so below, as within, so without. So I told her, I was like, I would never. I would not say any names, but um, keeping it very, love and light over here. But I told her, I'm not going to do that because I will. I will definitely transmute it. But I did let her know, like, I'm not about to do that, or nor will I speak it over my life that I'm struggling because, like, nah, I'm not struggling. And the fact that, like, that mindset in general, that's the point I was going to get back to. But that mindset in general is what gets people in situations where they face homelessness and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, just, I know it's small because it's just like, the car versus a cruise type of thing. But if you're thinking like that with something like a car versus a cruise, oh, thank you. I understand too. Um, then you'll apply that logic to other things in life. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about this because I want to have fun. And you know what I'm saying? It just goes into bigger and higher like echelons of situations if you already think like that. So I was like, nah, not going to think like that. I need a car because the car is going to be way more beneficial because I like to make my money make more money for me. Like if I put my money into, you know, equipment, that's going to give me more of a ROI, a return on investment. A cruise would have never given me a return on investment unless I'm networking with people there. So I don't know. Let me get to the, Yes, we removed it from our vocabulary. It's not my thing anymore. Definitely not. I'm thriving over here, and I hope everybody in the chat, I hope everybody that has tuned in, everyone that follows me is also thriving. And if you don't feel like it, I will speak it over you because it is a new moon right now, so the energy is very, intense. It's been a full moon for a little while, and I mentioned it a little bit in the past video. So if you have some time, go check out that video talking about 2025 and stuff like that. What I will also get into is a deeper dive into the drones. So drones and well, they say Dior top and all that, or like Dior bags. But I'm not going to censor myself because I feel like we're adults, like we know what it is. And then I feel like the people monitoring or censoring social media know what it is anyway. So it's like I'm not gonna do all that. But what I will say is I feel like it's a mixture of things. It might be because I already know, like, aliens have been here for a minute. So they already tell us because they have to tell us. Yes, I love that for y'all. I hope it continues. Um, but we are, aside from not alone in the universe, we're not alone dimensionally either. So they could be coming from like different planets and everything like that. But we also heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say that Earth is a closed system. So I'm not going to say my stances on that. But if it's a closed system, where could they all be coming from? More than likely inner Earth or portals. So I believe portals full, you know, wholeheartedly because I feel like portals aren't even just like the physical things we see. Like there are portals that are like shaped like stargates and everything like that. But they say also like the womb is a portal and like your pineal gland also is a portal into the astral life and things of that nature. I feel like there's also a portal where the part of your brain that releases DMT when you die, like that creates the portal that people get sucked into, if that makes sense. If you've, known about like astral projection and stuff like that, people say that there's always like a tunnel when they, get there and everything. So some things that are actually coming up for the palette. Let me get to that before I stop. So the Palette's 13th edition is coming out tomorrow. If you haven't already, please submit artwork. You have until tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, to submit artwork. And I'm also having an open mic. I was trying to figure out how to say that. Figure a open mic for the palette February 22nd. I was trying to mix all that up. So February 22nd, the palette open mic, and it will be off of Ralph David Abernathy. The address will be sent out amongst everything else. If you want to be a vendor, let me know. If you want to sell art, let me know. If you want to perform, just let me know. It will be a full open mic, so you can just walk up and just, do your thing, and we're moving on. So there also will be the palette rave coming up. The dates have not been set for that, nor has the venue, but it will be in the mix of planning and everything like that. Soon we'll also have interviews. So if you would like to be interviewed, just let me know, and then I'll send out the forms and everything to get it started. But until our next episode, y'all be safe, stay up, stay high vibrating, and have a good one.